Somewhere in America, a 65-year-old person wakes up feeling something. For 40 years, this person simply did what they were told. They went to work every day, earned a paycheck, and used that paycheck to pay bills and rent. They put their life together piece by piece. Today, for the first time in 40 years, there is no alarm clock. There is no boss. There is no schedule. There is silence and a question this person was never prepared to answer. What happens now to this 65-year-old person? This is not one person's morning. This will be the morning for over 4 million Americans this year alone. In 2025, 4.18 million people will turn 65. That is 11,400 people every day waking up to the same quiet. These 11,400 people are asking the question. They were told to work and save what they could. They were told that if they did those things, something would be waiting for them. What if it is not? What if what they were promised was never really there for these people? Let's talk about Social Security. Social Security replaces 37% of a worker's income. Not half, not even most, 37%. The average monthly check is $2,070. This $2,070 is for rent, food, medicine, insurance, and everything else life still costs after the paycheck stops. This $2,070 a month is supposed to replace a paycheck that once covered everything for these workers. Here's what nobody prepares you for. A 65-year-old person today can expect to live another 20 years. Not 5, not 10, but 20 years. 20 years is long enough to raise a child from birth to college. It is time to watch an entire industry disappear. 20 years is adulthood. So ask yourself honestly, can $2,070 a month support you for 20 years? For people, the honest answer is no. This gap did not always exist. Back in 1985, things were different. At that time, 80% of workers had a pension. That meant the company took the risk and managed the money. Guaranteed a paycheck for life. Today, 14% of workers have pensions. 80% dropped to 14%. Hardly anyone was told when or why this change happened to these workers. So what changed between 1985 and now? The risk shifted. It did not disappear. It moved from the company to you, the worker. Pensions became 401(k), S, and IRAs. With these accounts, you're the one putting in the money, choosing the investments, and shouldering 100% of the risk yourself. If the market tanks just before you retire, you take the hit. And if nobody ever taught you how to invest, well, you're on your own there, too. Your grandparents had a safety net woven by someone. You have a spreadsheet. You basically have to be perfect for 40 years straight without messing up even once. One mistake, one missed year of contributions, one decade in the market, that is the margin you are working with. That is the margin an entire generation is working with, whether they know it or not. Here's a quiet lie many working people tell themselves: I'll just work a little longer. If savings are not enough at 65, the plan is simple: keep working. Push it to 67, push it to 70, and by time. It sounds reasonable, but there is one flaw: it assumes you get to decide. The average American plans to retire at 65. The average American actually retires at 62, not by choice. By circumstance. 46% of retirees leave the workforce earlier than planned. Why? 41% due to declining health and 35% because they were laid off. More than a third of retirements are not a choice, they are a termination. The plan assumes you control the timeline. But your body does not always agree. Does your employer? So the real question is not, how much do I need saved by 65? The real question is, what happens if your choice is taken away 10 years early? For millions of people, this is not hypothetical. It is already happening. It is happening now to someone while you watch this. Imagine being 54 years old. You have worked at the company for 30 years. You have done everything stable, skilled, and reliable. Then, out of nowhere, you lose your job. And unfortunately, it happens a lot. 56% of workers in their 50s experience at least one layoff before retirement. More than half of these workers will experience this. Here's where it gets brutal. Of those who find work, only 10% earn what they used to. 90% take a pay cut, a cut of 21% for the rest of their working life. You spend 30 years climbing to a number. Then you lose a fifth of it permanently with almost no time left to rebuild. Where does that shortfall end up? It does not just disappear, it lands somewhere. Sometimes it means moving into your kid's spare room, suddenly having to rely on them instead of the other way around. Sometimes it lands on Medicaid, which ends up being the last resort to cover what a pension used to provide. This is not in the brochures. It is not a failure. It is the result of a system that shifted all the risk onto individuals and then acted surprised when some could not carry it. So where does that leave you? Not with panic. With clarity. The old contract is gone. Pensions are not coming back. Social Security alone was never enough. The idea that you actually get to choose when you retire? For millions of people, that is simply not true. What replaces it is not a trick or magic number. It's about creating a plan that doesn't expect a perfect 40-year streak, simply because real life is full of unexpected interruptions. Every day 11,400 people turn 65. The day after and the day after that. Some will wake up to silence and panic. Some will wake up to silence and feel ready. The real difference is whether they understood the numbers in time to change their outcome. The wave is not coming, it is already here. The only question is, which side of the math will you be standing on when it is your turn? And if you made it all the way to the end, thank you. Seriously. If this video gave you something to think about, I'd really appreciate your support. I'm setting myself a little challenge for the next video: 1,000 subscribers, 1,000 likes, and 1,000 comments. If we can reach those numbers, I'll make the next video. And honestly, every single like, comment, and subscription means more than you probably realize. When I see people actually engaging with these videos, it gives me the motivation to sit down, research, write, and make the next one. So if you enjoyed this video, don't just watch and disappear. Leave a comment. Hit the like button. And if you want to see the next one, subscribe. Let's see if we can hit 1,000 subscribers, 1,000 likes, and 1,000 comments. And I'll see you in the next video.